I'm not going to spend all day on Disney World, but I did notice that Obama's going to Disney World next week, and they're going to shut most of it down for his lordship and his wife and children. But that's all part of this other fraud, this facade, this fantasy land that we see here on the cover of this week's Time magazine, Obama's World, an exclusive interview by Mr. Bilderberg Group attendee Fareed Zakaria. And it's all about how Obama actually runs things. You see, the true social engineers, the true owners of our world, want you to really believe the buck stops with a teleprompter reading lawyer who runs absolutely nothing and is a mouthpiece of the political interest and financial interest that put him in power and financed him with over $1 billion in the 2008 campaign. You notice who he just appointed as the finance head in the White House, getting rid of the old, from the famous mob family, Daley. They hired the last head of Bain Capital, who replaced Mitt Romney, the guy who supports abortion, carbon taxes, open borders, gun control, and wrote Obamacare, that Republicans are being told by the paid-for mouthpieces is the guy they've got to elect. Or they can choose Newt Gingrich, who Politico's reporting called for censorship of the internet in 2006, supports carbon taxes, world government, an end to the family. Don't believe me, just type Newt Gingrich supports an end of the family, end of sovereignty. You'll pull up his quotes. I mean, I've actually read the foreword to the Toffler's book where he said it all. Better find out. Better find out what's really going on here. But my point is that the social engineers, first and foremost, want you dependent on the system. They don't like farmers. They don't like ranchers. They don't like people that know how to skin a buck and run a trot line, because a country boy can't survive. They want you in big, compact cities working for a handful of mega corporations who are authoritarian and anti-human. And the Fortune 100 themselves are financed, owned, and run by the 6 big mega banks globally, who on record, again, have the licensure through fraud to create unlimited currency and credit whenever they want. So imagine you've got ultra-rich fraudsters who don't go to jail like Bernie Madoff or die after sentencing like Ken Lay, who, by the way, created carbon taxes with Al Gore in 1995. Look it up. You know, those are low-level guys that end up getting burned. You know, the system sacrifices a few in this whole system occasionally to make the public think the bad guys are being punished, but it's always a mid-level nobody like Bernie Madoff. Bernie Madoff steals $50, $60 billion. The globalists steal trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions, and then have the bought and paid for dinosaur, sewer rat, sewer line, mainstream media tell you that the very mega banks that engineered the fraud that we've bailed out, that are too big to fail, they're now the people in Europe, the U.S., and everywhere else that tell us what to do and that tell us what our future is going to be. And have armies of little fake futurists out there running around telling us everything's random and the world's all up for grabs. And the truth is, everything at the base level is engineered within confines, within a grid. And there is randomness within that, but that is all basically predictively scanned through Google and other systems. And I don't mean you searching Google. That's what you think the function is. When you go to Google, it's getting all the data on you, what you're into, what you read, where you go, how much money you've got, your sexual habits, what you eat, what you're thinking. When you order a pizza from a large pizza chain, it's been on record for 8 years that they run your background and sell that data to the government. And then if there's any warrants out for you, they put it in a file for the government to know. Don't believe me? Just look up USA Today on that. Scofflaws get caught ordering pizzas. The point is, you're given an iPhone. You go pay for it. You're made to line up for it. They don't manufacture enough or create the Christmas toy phenomenon of stampedes. for the slave-produced product. You get it. You think that it's trendy, a totem or logo of power. It's so fun. It's the latest thing. Yeah, there's the USA Today article. Missouri tracks scofflaws via pizza delivery database. You didn't get the right to remain silent when you ordered that pizza, did you? I mean, I would tell the childlike public 15, 16 years ago that all cell phones are tracked in real time illegally by the government, but back then the public was told the NSA didn't exist. I actually had national news 14, 15 years ago repeatedly say I was insane, that the NSA didn't exist. Oh, now you all know it exists because now they're ready to tell you. They always tell you decades after it's in place, and Echelon and the rest of it. And yuppies and people that don't have a respect for themselves, they think that if they just deny something's happening, that gives them power over it. And so one day, none of this exists, but as soon as the establishment announces it exists, oh, it exists, but that's okay, because they're given a reason for it existing. Kind of like the cancer viruses they put in your vaccines. And I get emails and letters, people on the street go, well, there are too many people. Oh, really? Well, do you like dying of cancer young? You like your kid dying of it? Oh, well, no. Oh, see, you were imagining you were part of the elite. But see, you aren't. See, it's very, very sick. And that's why it's very, very sick when I hear grown men and adults getting all exercise and excited about the football game or about the basketball game or about golf. And it made me say, oh my gosh, did you see this? And they have all the little factoids and everything. And I'm like, why don't you get some factoids about global governance or about the post-industrial world that the technocrats are setting up, or about binary weapon systems in your food, water, and vaccines? Why don't you find out what a binary weapon system is? Why don't you just type in Rockefeller Foundation, sterilants, and vaccines? I mean, you'll be on their foundation website. They've got it all public. They think you're so stupid, it's all public. Why your 30-year-old wife can't have a kid? Or why you got prostate cancer at 40? Or why you've got all those spinal problems from the sodium fluoride? Or why your 7-year-old son just got diagnosed with bone cancer? Or why all the birth defects are so high? You know, you have that kid who's got all those organs malformed. You think you might want to know who did it. You might want to know why all this is happening. But no, you don't. Because there's this pretty, shiny, sparkly, fake glitter Las Vegas New World Order system. The fake cities of Las Vegas and Disney and the cruise ships and the biometrics and all of these little contained artificial environments. Why does the Department of Defense study those? Because they're going to turn the whole world into a Times Square, where you're bombarded by the brainwashing, where you're bombarded by the propaganda, where you are a prisoner, brainwashed. Not me. I've seen reality. I've seen what the controllers see. It is the 22nd day of January, 2012. I'll have open phones and a ton of other really important news in the second hour today. I'm here every Sunday, 4 to 6 p.m., blasting out on the Sunday show on more than 60 AM and FM stations. The weekday show, over 100. XM channel 166. The websites are Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.com, and PrisonPlanet.tv, amongst many others, like WhatIsTheEndgame.com. Oh, you don't know what the endgame is? That's like saying, I don't know what the Matrix is. One cannot be told about the Matrix. One has to see the Matrix for themselves. And I am tending to wax philosophical here because my mind swims around the great reservoir of research I've done. And then in the spoken word, to assemble the information is a great task. To try to assemble it simply But if you assemble it simply, then that falls in the paradigm of not being three-dimensional and having depth to it. Because when you're communicating with a population that's been trained in one-dimensional thought processes, it's very, very hard. The best way to put this is the general public is basically in different degrees of sleep. And I mean technically is in sleep. You can pull up BBC articles, major studies about television being directly linked to different neurological disorders, not just seizures, but early onset of things like Alzheimer's. In fact, just type in Alzheimer's TV. First one's BBC, but there's about 3 million articles on it, or hits. Last time I checked a few months ago. We'll see what it is now. Again, I want listeners to understand, every sentence I say can be pulled up as a data point. That's how my brain works. None of this is my opinion. And I know the future. Do you know why I know the future? Because the future already happened. The future is already here. We are in a subterranean, suppressed, sloth-like, slow-motion future that is dripped out like poison honey from a honey hive, and the globalists are up in their technocratic beehive, and we're down here like addled, poisoned ants stumbling around. And one cannot be told about the Matrix, one must see it. I think a simple way to put this is we are not in a matrix, but the technocrats, the globalists, are trying to build one. They're trying to build a completely artificial habitat for the general public. They're trying to limit the information you come in contact with. They're trying to make you very, very shallow. They're trying to reduce the language and the number of words people use. The system admits in so many white papers it'll make your head spin that they want to basically abolish the family. And they've done an incredible job of that. And then you read all these globalist white papers, like the Wired magazine article I've talked about for 14 years, Why the Future Doesn't Need Us, Bill Joy, co-owner, Sun Microsystems. And he says in the article, you know, I went to this conference with 200 tech company owners, some of the richest guys in the world, and, you know, the debate was, do we kill everybody because they're not needed anymore, because labor isn't just cheap, it's actually a negative because of robotics and the future and claiming that humans are hurting the earth? Or do we give people little mindless games and fake jobs and a fake civilization to live in? And he says that's the debate we're having right now. And I've read similar white papers and similar articles hundreds of times from the establishment. And then I try to have a discussion with my listeners at an adult level from the perspective of what the people running this planet are really discussing. In fact, we can just type in Alzheimer's television and it'll bring up the BBC, just Alzheimer's television. And then we can also type in Why the Future Doesn't Need Us. We'll show people both those. And people are listening on the radio. They go, you'll show us both? Yes, at prisonplanet.tv. We're streaming video. And there's a little free video function at Infowars.com. You want to watch it there. But you can do this. This is interactive radio. This is meant, really, this show is designed around radio. The video side of it is just a small outgrowth. Yeah, that's not the article, man. Jailed for sharing his father's industrial composition. You just type Alzheimer's television, just Alzheimer's TV, and boom, it's right there. At least it was like a month ago. Or if you type in Why the Future Doesn't Need Us, it's Wired magazine, April issue 1999. You can pull it up right there. Did you click web or did you click news? Yeah, you don't click web because it's old. New stuffs, you click news. Old stuff, you click web. There it is, BBC, top link. New stuff, you click news. It's the other way around? New stuff, you click news. Old stuff, you click web.